Learned friends, today we are taking up the subject evolution of universe. Three kinds of evolution we have to deal with. One is evolution of planets. Second is evolution of living beings. Then evolution of consciousness. So these three are to be thought over today's program. We know there are individual particles in the universe. At the same time, we know the association of particle is mass. What is mass? What is single unit of particle? How the mass is happening? It is not a subjective phenomena at all when we understand. Even the air is mass because all our particles are joining together and now we feel the air, then it is a mass. But we are limiting the mass only up to the solid things. It is not. All the waves, what we feel, what we understand, that is the mass. What is the wave? Before mass, we have to understand the wave also. Wave is the process of dissolution of particle. When the particle melts or dissolves, automatically that comes to the state of wave. Particle means we know first energy particle, infinitesimal energy particle. We take it as the basic particle in the universe. When it is diluted or disintegrated into small parts, we are having number one only, but we are beyond number one. There are so many numbers down. Below one. One is perceptible. Below one, imperceptible. If you think of micro, that is several times you have to dissect one. And there is another figure, nano, it's 10 million times lesser than one. Like that, there are so many small and fractional figures. What are they? They are all disintegrated part of the particle. How the particles are disintegrated? First by the self-compressive force, the particles are formed. By intensifying its own energy, it becomes a particle. What is a particle? That is intensification of energy, the basic energy, which is gravity. Gravity is the primordial state of the universe. In Indian philosophy, it is called as Brahman or God. In the science, it is called gravity. So, gravity is the basic fundamental principle from which everything started. What is the gravity? First, we have to identify it. It is nothing but pure space. If you think of gravity, we cannot imagine the volume of it. We cannot imagine the force of it. We cannot calculate the force of it. Volume force, time. What is the time? Now we are able to calculate the time by some other machines. But before that, there was no time. We are calculating time, that is only a small portion of the universal evolution. Before the time we started calculating, how many million years would have passed? So, in the same way, take the particle. How the particles are gathering together to make a mass. Suppose the water or mountain, body, trees, all are the masses. When we clearly understand the process of mass, forming as mass by the particle, that itself is a Brahmajnana. You are seeing a tree. Tree is a mass of energy particle. You are seeing a river going, water. That is mass. Mountain, all are masses. When you bring them into mass, particle, all the masses are particles. How they are joining together and working. What is the process? What is the power which makes them to join? Now we are seeing millions and millions of stars in the universe. They are perfectly working with their distance and motion and encircling with one another. Everything is perfect. How they are maintained? In the whole universe, from the gravity, only one force in the gravity. Gravity is the only one force, which is self-compressive surrounding pressure force. The same force, wherever it gets intensified, after that, what will happen? The intensified energy has to magnify. Intensifying force is called self-compressive surrounding pressure force. The same force returns back. Just like you are keeping a pot under a tap. You are filling up the water. The water is taken and filled up. After completely filled up, what will happen? The same water which was going into the pot comes out. This is the repulsion. What was going inside the pot, that force is compressive force. And after that, automatically that returns back repulsive. When we understand the greatness of the repulsive force, that is only when the intensity is more, automatically that is magnified. So there is only one force, Almighty the force, gravity the force. The same force we can conceive as surrounding pressure force, self-compressive surrounding pressure force. By that, the energy started. After that, again the same compressive force compressing around the particle. So, automatically that particle spinning. These are all, if you push anything, that will go that side. If you push that side, that will come this side. If you push the same all around, where it will go? That is the reason for spinning of the particle. By spinning of the particle, again by the pressure around, every particle is pressed around by the gravity. A friction happens between the gravity and particle. By the friction, a wave comes. That is, slowly the particle is breaking into smallest pieces. That spreads as wave. Whatever the wave you see, you imagine, that is minute particle below number 1, started from the particle. So, that is called a wave. The same wave transforms into pressure, sound, light, smell and taste when it works between Panchabhutas. In the Akash field, it becomes pressure. In the air field, when the air comes, there are 2 particles. Never 2 particles should be the same in the speed of spinning, because it would have started sometime before. By the time every particle is losing its speed because of the compression around and dissolution. These 2 reasons, every particle is always being reduced. Accordingly, the speed is reduced. Alright, now you can imagine 1 crore of rotation of 1 particle. Another is only 50 lakhs of rotation. They come close. Because both are having their own speed of spinning, they can become one with one another. There is a gap because of a repulsive force. What happens? Around these 2 particles, the compressive force is giving pressure around. The particle cannot come together and become one. At the same time, it cannot stop their spinning action. Therefore, Slower one remains in the center, faster one comes around because of the pressure. So, in this way, these two particles settled in motion, one is in the center, other is around. This molecule is called as air or hydrogen. When the same particle is reduced further, one more particle will come, so 3 particles, 4 particles, 5 particles, like that. When it increases, now we are having 92 elements. That means 92 particles. Each element is having some certain particular specific value in the chemical qualities. How the chemical quality is changing? Because of the speed of rotation, the wave which is eliminated from the particle is characterized only to transform into pressure or sound, light, smell and taste. So, there itself it gets characterized. So, now we are having one particle in the beginning. From the particle, by the compressive force, wave starts. That wave is called by our Kufa committee as yoga. Yesterday I told yoga means what is traveling towards the God or basic force to reach and become one with it. That itself is called yoga. That process is yoga. So, this starting from the particle and merging into the space, because it cannot withstand the pressure around. Therefore, gradually it stops. So, this is anyhow, that is also wave. Any wave in the universe cannot go straight, cannot be lengthwise. Why? Everywhere the surrounding pressure force is full. When any wave enters there, automatically the surrounding compressive force makes it global shape. So, all the waves, whatever it may be, that has to take shape of a global or very big ground. The same way, whatever the wave starts, that is obstructed by the gravity. According to the obstruction and speed, it makes a big round or small round, minimum round, infinitesimal round, that is called particle. So, now these two particles, in addition to these two particles, we are having so many particles like the electron, proton, neutron and a black space. These all are only according to the spinning force. When the spinning force is full, the electron charge, its magnetic force is too much. So it is called the electron. When it is reduced to certain limit, automatically that is called as proton. When it reduces still further, it is called a neutron. finally when stops, when the wave stops running, what will happen with the wave? That becomes one with the ocean. Similarly, the particle stops spinning, that becomes one with the gravity. That becomes dark, black space. This is happening in all big planets like Sun and other planets. So this all, just you have to imagine only one space by the self-compressive surrounding pressure force. It is sporadically makes intensified and become particle, infinitesimal primary energy particle. When the particle is full speed, that is absolutely traveling, that is called Akash. Windveli. When they become together, two together, that is one molecule, hydrogen. When the particle increases up to 16, oxygen comes. Now you can imagine only hydrogen is evolved. Hydrogen particles are moving. Where? Because of the surrounding pressure force, all the hydrogen particles are coming together. Even then, they are making a global shape movement. All are hydrogen particles. What will happen? Anything which is rolling or rotating, it gets intensification in the center. So that means even in the hydrogen, they are losing the speed of rotation. Accordingly, the particles are gathering more and more. Some of them come to oxygen, 16 particles. Only hydrogen is working when the oxygen forms, that is heavier. That will stay in the center. Hydrogen is the outer side. So when they mix together in the ratio H2O, that becomes a continuity. That means there are two molecule masses. They come together, both are having space. The space is filled up by the atom of other molecules. So the continuity comes, that is water. Now, hydrogen, oxygen, water. Where will the water stay? In the same globe, water will be in the center, second will be oxygen, the third will be hydrogen. So it is going on rolling. And then further it gets more particle. It becomes another element, what we call 92 element. Heavier elements are forming. All are going in the center. So, by the heavier elements, solid is formed. So, same globe, solid, liquid, air, all are there. In time, according to the specific gravity principle, the heavier things or lighter things are settling in the same global form according to their speed. So, finally, it becomes the water is on the surface. In the center, molten heat. Metals, mud, and all other things are molten because of the heat. So, when the heat is increasing in any of the solid things, the solid things will bulge, expand. Such expansion makes to come out from the center to the periphery. The molten liquid is coming out and thrown out of the globe. After the air cools, it becomes great mountains. When the mountain is melted by rain, the forest forms, and all other places for farmland is now there are 5 kinds of lands. One is Kurinji, all are hills and the hill places, hilly places. The second is forest. The third is farmland. The fourth is the sea, and very near all the places are needle. Finally, sometimes the molten liquid cannot come out. By the pushing force of that molten things, the whole earth is lifted up over the water. That becomes a desert. So automatically 5 kinds of lands are formed in the world. Later on, when the heat increases in the center, by the increase of the molecular system, automatically the water dries out. The whole thing becomes little by little fireball up to becoming sun. Now we are having Mercury. What is Mercury? This is in between the sun and the earth in the process of evolution. Sometime the same Mercury may become fully heated up, and at that time it will become heavier and heavier. It will become one with the sun. So sun and Mercury will be one. Like that, there are so many things are forming. This is the process of forming masses from the particle. Everything. Now you imagine the earth. Earth is rotating at the speed of 1000 miles per hour. What happens? All the liquid and the other gases are coming out from the center. Where it will go? After coming to the periphery, it is a liquid. Then after the air, it touches the air, it becomes solidified, dry. First, such a dry things are called as grasses. First, grasses are formed. Later on, by mutation, so many plants are formed. In the formation of plants, there are seeds. What is seed? And the seed is sown in time. It will become the same plant as mother plant. When you don't sow it, keep it for some time closing in a vessel. After some time, automatically what is the seed in it, that will have magnetic force, much more magnetic force arranged in row, that will become worm, puru. When it becomes puru, it will eat the same seed and make a hole, come out. After coming out, it requires food. For the food, it will eat it just like another puru or small insects. What will be going into the mouth, what it can kill by its might. In this way, eating one another up to 5 senses animals, one after other, by mutation, it is coming. When the molecular arrangements are coming to the system, the magnetic force is charged. Whatever the physical body is there, organic body, there will be 8 layers. Physical body, life force particle, magnetism, biomagnetism, because life force particle is having spinning action, there automatically the wave comes. That wave is called magnetism, biomagnetism. The whole biomagnetism is charged in the body, that has to go to the center. It makes a genetic center, and the genetic center supplies the same force to the senses. Through the senses, it becomes a pressure, sound, light, smell and taste. This is living being. The living being, when it perceives anything, what will happen? The same, what it perceives, the same shape and image is taken by the mental wave. That is compressed into wave form, taken to the genetic center and deposited. When it goes there, it is very minute particle, so it becomes one with the genetic center. All the experiences, mentally, physically, whatever happens, that is going to the genetic center. Because the genetic center is magnetically intensified, the life force particles which are losing their force, all such are gathering there. After maturity, every living being is having sexual vital fluid. That also takes the same place. These 3 are making genetic center in every living being. That is magnetic intensity, life force particles and semen. These 3 are gathered in one place, working together. That is genetic center. All the senses are taking their force only from there. Wherever the magnetic force, that is biomagnetism charge, that goes to the center. So center is the pole for the magnetic force. That is called Mooladhara. So in this way, the living beings are formed. When the living being is formed and started working, 8 organic functional principles are started there. Physical body, life force, magnetism and the genetic center, brain, senses and the mind and soul. Soul means the aggregate total of all the genes are called soul. So all the, if you research what is a living being, whether it lives on the earth or in the sky as birds or in the water as fish, all the three things, all the three varieties would have these 8 things in the organic function of the body. In the 8 principles, if anyone is not there or fails, all the other will fail. Therefore, if you want to think of living being, there should be all the 8 functional principles in order. This is a living being. Then whatever the living being is seeing or perceiving, the perception, the magnetic force is coming out and take the shape and image. That wave is compressed by the divine power and goes to the... So, from the birth to all the time of living, all the experiences of pleasure, pain and needs or desires, all are gathered in the genetic center. That is, we call it as the imprints of sins, Vinaypadivu. We call them as Vinaypadivu, whatever we see. So nothing is omitted. Whatever you do, all are compressed in the waveform and kept this. When you are not doing anything, automatically they are let out. As when they come and touches the brain cells are magnifying all such magnetic knots of experiences. Now you are seeing this and that. Suppose you are seeing a peacock, beautiful peacock. It will be 6 feet and 2 feet height. Already you have seen. 10 days before you have seen in one place. Now you are thinking, what I saw there? The same peacock comes to your mind. It is not correct word if I say it comes to your mind. Your mind becomes taking the shape of peacock. When it saw the same mental force taken the shape, this process is called the biomagnetic force and magnetic functions in the universe is called as Vellam by some philosophers. Vellam means, well means pure. Means magnetism. What is magnetism? Gravity and the wave formed from the particle. Gravity is God, wave is Shakti. Shakti, Shivam, both are jointly functioning. That was called on those days as Pranavam. These days, because of scientific improvement, we are giving the good name as magnetism. The magnetism was called on those days as Pranavam. So, because of the purity, the whole body, such a magnetism is pure. Whatever you see, that is taking, that is intensified as not. Every perception, every experience, every action, when intensified in the waveform, that becomes a small, minute knot. When it is getting knot, it goes to this brain cells. Whatever you perceive through the senses, all have to go to the brain cells. In the brain cell, it makes up to the sound and light, they are as it was. Even if you see the cow or peacock, you can see the same peacock in a small form, then others are able to see the eyes. But after going to the brain, it becomes a dot. There is no dimension. You cannot see anything. Because it is a contamination in the universe, the magnetism. What is the magnetism? Biomagnetism, which is rotating in our body, that takes to the center and deposits. In what frequency you thought or you saw the same animal, the same frequency will come when you think of it. Then automatically that will blossom into magnified figure you are seeing as thought. This is the mind. What are the deposits? That is soul. That is going on with the genes. So genes are the carrier. Mind is the exhibitor. The magnetic force is the fuel. The whole body is working in such and such way. Only because of this, the magnetism, whatever you eat, that food is manufactured or transformed into 7 dhadus. They are distributed to all the dhadus every day, every minute. The molecular system is going on disintegrating and particles are going out, so that is to be replaced. That is going on in our body. We can say it is, I am so and so. But what is this body? This body is mine. This is Ahambhava. Nobody has made any part of the body, even one hair. Nobody can make. Nobody has made. You are lifting the hand. You are telling, I am lifting the hand. Is the hand made by you? No answer. What is the Shakti or power you are lifting? The magnetic force is a coalescence of 2 great principles. One is gravity, the God. The second is the wave. So they both are working in our body. So everything is of nature. When we understand the nature fully, clearly, our work will be, that is adjusted to suit the law of nature. When we understand how to harmonize our force with the nature, there is no difficulty at all. Wherever there is a conflict or stuck up or short circuit by our action in the magnetic force or in the action of God, there starts pain, miseries and death. In the nature, there is no pain, there is no any other problem. Wherever we are disturbing the law of nature, do things according to our mental force or desire, there starts. If it is not coming, that is harmonious with the nature, there starts all the problem. Therefore, everybody has to understand the nature. Nature means God. If you understand the nature, you will work according to the natural law. The 5 functions inevitably we have to do. Food, taking food, working, sleeping, sex, and thought force. All the 5 we have to see to go with the harmoniously go with natural law. If there is the friction or some conflict, that will give disease. Any disease, whatever it comes, that is not coming and disappearing. It disturbs a part of our body. That disturbance will stay in the magnetic force forever. Again and again, the same disturbance will come until our lifetime. Meanwhile, the progeny comes, that also will be given the same as Xerox copy, all the imprints or characters what we are having. If this is understood by all people, can anybody do wrong to others or self? Even doing wrong to self, it is bad, it is sinful, because nothing is done by our own action in the body. Everything is maintained by Almighty. Just you are given the body without lease, there is no time. Automatically, but you have in the lease, there are 2 dates. One is starting date, at the same time, the ending date, conclusion also given. One is known well, date of birth. Other is not known, but there is. Every living being starts only to die. In between the birth and death, what is the time going on? That is called living period. So when these all are understood, how can we live in the society? Harmoniously helping one another, not doing harm to others. Therefore, this understanding of the Brahma Jnanam is a must for all adults in the world. So, this is the universal evolution as well, evolution of living being. What more you want? When you understand the God and living being, the same God starts evolution as infinitesimal energy particle. From the energy particle, another particle, yoga wave particle coming. And they are transformed into pressure, sound, light, smell and taste. Wherever the particles join together according to the nature of the elements, it works as so much materials or chemicals, so on. And when the arrangement is going on well, circulation is full, there the same magnetic circulation makes it to move and makes it to form all the 8 things, that is 8 organic principles: physical body, life force, magnetism, and genetic center, mind, brain, senses, all this. These all are living beings. So in the universe, living being is one main part. Only the universal evolution ends only in the living being. In the living being, which starts from one sense, that is plant life, and after that, when it becomes a pulu, that is worm, 2 senses, then vandu, the flies, three senses, and crawling things are four senses, and walking five senses. Man is the sixth sense. So, why the sixth sense man has to understand all this? Man, if you think where from the man has come? Man has come only from Almighty God. So, what are the respects, greatness in God? All are potential with man also. Anyhow, man has to understand all this because he has to live harmoniously and peacefully, avoiding pains and miseries. Because it is not possible for mankind. Why? Every man is having some imprints of sinful imprints. How it has come? Man has come from God. How the man is getting some sinful imprints? Even though the water is coming from the river, it has started from the ocean. After that, it became vapor and poured as rain. On the way, wherever it comes, according to the place, it gets characterized as river water or some gutter water, so on. When the same water enters into the plant life, fruits, these and all are coming. Even all the juice of the fruits, only water. So, according to the place it enters, the water itself is so many things. Similarly, man has not come directly from God. He has come through the evolutionary process on the way. What is the universal life? If you count, if you are able to count, what you cannot count as living being and other universal evolution. Before that, the time was longer. The evolutionary process and evolution existence of the universe is less than what we forgot. We could not. So, on the way, how many generations we would have taken on the earth from the one sense living being, plant life, 2 sense worms, 3 sense flies, like that. 5 sense animals, if you come to 5 sense animals. From 2 senses up to 5 senses, how they are living, what is the food they are eating. All are eating one another as food. What is the volume of the other living being, whether it can go into my mouth or can I crush it into small pieces so that it can go. In that way, every living being is killing another animal, torturing another animal, killing and taking the flesh and disturbing the living process. So, these all are sinful action when comparing with man, because man is having the potential to manufacture food by himself with the water and ground. He can manufacture the food. He need not kill any animal. So, he stopped new imprints of sinful actions. But what about the genetic center, which is having a record of all the sinful actions of the animals, through which we passed on millions and millions of years and births. So all are with mankind, because he has come finally. Each and every man is having these four kinds of sinful imprints, whether he is willing or not. Torturing another living being, killing another living being, taking the flesh or property of other person, and jeopardizing the freedom of living on the earth. These four actions are sinful. They all are imprinted in the animal kingdom, in their genetic center. When the seed comes through the animals, taking the shape as man, man starts all his function only from the imprints of, that is, behavior of animals. So every man is having all the qualities of animals. Some are not putting into action because there is no need. Some are understanding, oh, this is the action of brutes, I should not do that. So in that way, better and better, day by day, it will come. Finally, all will understand the man should not do all this. When man comes to that, here we are having Aindolukka Panbadu, that is 5 virtues together. One is living on the earth only by the labor of physical labor and by intellectual functions. Then not to inflict pain to others' body or mind. Second. The third is yes, not to kill any animal for his food. The 3. At the same time, respecting the property and living process, and so that is one. But finally, helping others in time of need. These are the 5 virtues. The 5 virtues will be easily possible by all people. You can imagine, if these 5 virtues are followed by all people on the earth, how will be the world? Everybody can say, oh, it will be heaven. No, heaven is not at all known by anybody. So they will say heaven. Let it be. If it is so, why not we follow this? Ask the question. There is one sleeping mood in man. Always when he finds good things, let them do. I will not. Let others do. I will do the same what I am doing. So from this habit and wisdom, man is always struggling. This struggle is to be, that's correlated. What is the wisdom? Accordingly, man has to live. The time is coming. That is the age of science. So we all are in the starting time of that age. Everybody is the unit of preparing such a society in the world. With this word, I conclude my speech. Now you all are ready to practice the sky system. வாழ்க வளம்.